The U.S. economy is in a state of disarray, and in today's video, we're going to dive into several shocking stats, signs, and forecasts that prove it. Over the past 2 years, the U.S. economy has steadily deteriorated, and millions of Americans have not financially recovered from the economic shocks caused by the health crisis. On top of that, consumers are dealing with the highest consumer prices in over 4 decades, and living expenses are still soaring across the country. It's no wonder that U.S. consumers are losing confidence in the economy and reducing their spending as their buying power decreases. However, we're not here to simply tell you what you already know. We have gathered some essential indicators that illustrate how the American economy is getting off the rails once again. So, before we get into our list of 15 astonishing facts about the messed up state of the U.S. economy, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel so that you won't miss any of our upcoming content. The first quarter of 2022 has become a significant indicator of the challenges that lie ahead. The U.S. economy has shrunk in the first 3 months of the year, marking the first significant contraction since 2019. GDP, the sum of all goods and services produced in the country, has been dragged down by a sharp drop in exports, slower restocking of goods in stores and warehouses, and a huge increase in the trade deficit. The gross domestic product shrank at an annualized rate of 1.4%, according to the Commerce Department. Deutsche Bank's analysts warn that this slowdown is setting the stage for an economic disaster as inflation continues to soar and is likely to take a long time before it gets back down to the Fed's goal of 2%. This suggests that the central bank will raise interest rates so aggressively that it will hurt the economy. We regard it as highly likely that the Fed will have to step on the brakes even more firmly, and a deep recession will be needed to bring inflation to heel. Deutsche Bank economists wrote in their report with the ominous title, "Why the Coming Recession Will Be Worse Than Expected." A survey conducted by CNBC found that more than half of economists and investment professionals expect the Fed to fail in its mission to engineer a soft landing for the economy. Furthermore, 8 in 10 small business owners expect a recession to occur this year, according to the latest CNBC SurveyMonkey Small Business Survey for the fourth quarter of 2022. Rising prices remain the top concern for small businesses, with supply chain disruptions coming in second place at 19%, followed by concerns over the health crisis and labor shortages. The survey also revealed that few small business owners see any bright spots in the current economy, with only 18% rating it as good, while 44% consider it poor. A critical sign that the economy is weakening is that consumers are running out of savings. In April, the personal savings rate in the U.S. dropped to a 14-year low of 4.4%, according to the latest figures from the Commerce Department. With millions of households already in negative savings territory, meaning they are increasingly tapping into their savings to cover purchases each month, this has led PayPal CEO Dan Schulman to sound the alarm about the financial situation of U.S. households. The combination of high spending and high inflation means Americans are burning through savings at a rate that could have them running out by the end of this year. We're already seeing a reduction in spending at lower income levels for sure, and it's moving up to middle income right now, Schulman said. Consumer spending in the U.S. has slowed down, with 8 in 10 U.S. shoppers planning to purchase fewer items in the next 3 to 6 months, according to a survey by market research firm NPD Group. The study also showed that consumers bought 6% fewer items in Q1 2022 than during the same period last year. This decrease in consumer spending is already affecting earnings from big box brands and could potentially have a ripple effect throughout the economy. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon stated that there are storm clouds. It's a hurricane, and likened it to Hurricane Sandy. Americans have lost purchasing power at a faster rate over the past year than they did over the past decade, with consumers losing an average of 0.45% of their purchasing power per month from March 2021 to March 2022. This equates to a total loss of 5.4%, while consumer prices rose 8.5%. However, wage growth did not keep up with the rate of inflation. Median wages, when adjusted for inflation, have declined 9% since 2006, according to calculations by PayScale. The New York Federal Reserve Bank's latest survey showed that Americans believe inflation will remain at 4.2% over a 3-year horizon. Near-term expectations are up to 5.4% over the next year, which is a record high. These expectations matter because inflation can easily become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people expect inflation, the more businesses tend to raise prices, which can result in a price spiral. Consumer confidence is rapidly deteriorating all across America. The U.S. Index of Consumer Sentiment is currently at 58.4, down from 65.2 last month and down from 82.9 1 year ago. This marks the lowest reading since 2011. Persistent concerns over rising living expenses have dimmed Americans' view on the economy. At this point, everything we consume is significantly more expensive, and prices continue to rise. Common household purchases continue to be significantly more expensive than a year ago. For instance, last month, the price of food increased 9.4%, the largest 12-month increase since 1981. Meats, poultry, fish, and eggs saw an increase of 14.3%. Fruits and vegetables rose 7.8%. Electricity prices went up by 11.1%. Utility services saw a 22.7% increase. Furniture and bedding faced a 15% increase. Household cleaning products jumped by 10.1%. And gas prices were up between 37% and 47% across all regions. The rise in living costs is a phenomenon occurring nationwide, but some regions are suffering more than others. The CPI report reveals that the South saw a 9.1% increase in prices over the year, with the West trailing just behind it with an 8.7% increase. According to GEC calculations, last year, the average inflation cost per household rose from roughly $100 in April 2021 to over $380 in January 2022. Americans in the mountain region, including Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, are experiencing the highest inflation rates, with over $100 in added household costs in January. Almost half of Americans, about 47%, believe that the cost of living is the biggest threat to their financial security, according to TD Ameritrade's Financial Disruption Survey. Additionally, almost as many, about 44%, fear the rising cost of healthcare. American households are feeling the squeeze of rising prices for everyday essentials, and it's pushing them to take on record amounts of debt just to make ends meet. Shockingly, consumer debt rose to a staggering $15.84 trillion in the first quarter of 2022. Mortgages account for 71% of all household debt, and this number has been steadily climbing. Since the health crisis began, households have taken on $8.4 trillion in new mortgage debt, coinciding with a massive rise in prices. In fact, the median home price has skyrocketed by 30% over the past 2 years to a staggering $428,700. To make matters worse, the share of Americans living paycheck to paycheck has also risen. In April 2021, 52% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck. However, as of now, about 64% of Americans, or 166 million adults, are struggling to make ends meet, according to research by Lending Club. Moreover, 67% of families feel that their income can't keep up with the cost of living. The survey conducted by OnPoll revealed that the average American believes they would need an income of $86,000 to feel financially comfortable. However, regardless of how much money they earn, 57% say their finances will always make them feel stressed. The economic situation has millennials and Generation Z terrified because they've never witnessed an economic downturn before. According to a Deloitte survey, just 28% expect the country's economic situation to improve over the next 12 months. Unfortunately, financial experts predict that the economy is going to face a reckoning. The cracks are already starting to show, and growth is expected to decline from 2.4% in the second half of this year to just 1% by the end of 2022. Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and JP Morgan Chase have all downgraded their economic outlooks. We are in the midst of a long-term economic decline, and it's clear that the system isn't working as it should. Decades of reckless monetary decisions have brought us to this point, and things are only going to get worse from here.